Have you ever got to the point in your life to where you're wondering what your purpose is? I've gone through phases, different periods in my life when I was younger, where I wondered, what am I even here for? And there were some dark times that I went through that really made me question those times, but that thought always lingered. And as I look through social media and I see different things on the news and I talk to people, young people, even some older people, I've seen people break down in tears because they really just don't know what their purpose is. And a lot of times when we get to those stages, the craziest things can, come into our minds. I know people that have contemplated suicide. I know people who have committed suicide because they did not feel that they had a purpose. They didn't know why they even wanted to live. And sadly, that is, a major mindset of our generation today. But I wanted to bring you some encouragement. I wanted to share with you and let you know that everybody at some point has felt that in their life. You may be looking at people that are very successful, that you're thinking, well, there's no way that they ever felt that way. Well, I can promise you that they have. You just weren't there when they went through those dark times. When you see people that are successful, that seem that everything that they touch turns to gold, I can promise you that they reached that point in their life where they asked the question, what is my purpose? But then they figured it out. And once they learned what their purpose was and they began operating in their gift, well, then they started being successful and started soaring. But does that mean that they still occasionally don't go through difficult times? Absolutely not. But what sustains them is they know what their foundation is, and that's their purpose. Everybody has their time. You see those people that they are successful and they're operating in their gift, their time has come. They went through the necessary steps. They learned what their purpose was and they grabbed a hold to it. Just because our time may not have come, we should be learning everything that we can and preparing ourselves for when that time does come. So in the meantime, instead of feeling sorry for ourselves or getting depressed or trying to compare our lives with other people, we should be focusing on what do we need to be doing to prepare ourselves for our purpose. I was reading one night about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and this revelation came to me. When we tell stories of these three gentlemen, we can talk about Abraham and how he's the father of many nations and all of these different things that he did. He took Isaac on the mount and was going to sacrifice him, and how, all of these different stories that we have with Abraham and Sarah. And then when we flip over to Jacob, which is Isaac's son, we talk about how his name was transformed. He was no longer called Jacob after he wrestled with God, but he was now Israel, and he is the father of 12 tribes of Israel. But when we talk about Isaac, what did he do? If you will go back and read the story of Isaac, the only thing that Isaac is really noted for is his relationship, his wife. And when you dig into that, you'll find he didn't even have a hand in that. Abraham sent his servant out to find his wife. So the only thing that the man's really noted for, didn't even have a hand in. But so what did he do? What was his purpose? His purpose was simply to bridge the gap between Abraham and Jacob. He had to exist for Jacob to be born. And so I can imagine that he lived at some point, wondering the same thing. What is his purpose? Not knowing that one day his son would be the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. How cool is that? And so when you get to the point in your life where you feel like there is no purpose, there is. You may feel like it can be insignificant because we never know the whole picture. But part of it is coming down to you've got to trust that there is a purpose, and you've got to grab a hold of that purpose. You've got to prepare yourself for the purpose. And while you are in that time of preparation, stay humble. Don't be envious or jealous when you see others around you operating in their purpose. And I can promise you, your time will come. Stay patient. Keep your mind right. Don't get depressed. And fight. Fight for what your purpose is. And prepare yourself for that moment.